Hey everybody, today I wanted to talk about cloud computing in finance and banking, especially with FinTech. I'm here together with Marcel and with Henrik. You guys want to say hello?
Hello.
Hi everyone.
I wanted to ask you guys, first of all, why cloud for banking? So what does a cloud actually mean?
You have to think, in the earlier time when you made a photo, for example, you had to transfer it to your computer, then you didn't have it in your handy, you had to transfer all those data. Today, you make a photo with your handy, you instantly have it on your iPad or your laptop. You're going to change it, you put a filter on it, and it's distributed everywhere. So you can access your data everywhere, anytime, where you want it. And that's basically cloud for a normal person. So
doesn't that mean somebody else's computer? You're actually leveraging somebody else's computing RAM power.
Exactly. This is what you do actually, but in addition to that, what you say, I would add that multiple instances can use those computer power. For example, it's stored in one place. Many other companies or banks can use this services what you provide on the cloud. So you can collaborate on that, you can share things in a much more efficient way than if everyone else would have his own resources on-prem.
But that kind of blows my mind, right? Because banks are not good at sharing. I mean, traditionally they've been places that protect identity of clients and assets.
They do share already today software. One company is developing a software and many banks are using that software. Now it runs in a way that the software is developed and run on-prem on each bank side. Now you would be able to pull those things together and this software could run on one spot and banks could access basically this spot and therefore better being sharing in the software.
Banks are using cloud already. They just call it private cloud. So most of the bigger banks, they have a cloud in place which is sitting in their own data centers. But that limits them for certain functionality. If you think about, let's take Google or Microsoft, which they have about 30,000 engineers behind their cloud, they have a power. I mean, they release software in minutes, every hour. So every few hours the new functionality goes on the cloud. You can never do that in the cloud, in a private cloud. So, and the second thing is that the regulation and also the US Cloud Act is preventing certain things on the banking secrecy, basically to use the cloud.
The current Cloud Act allows foreign governments or US governments basically to access to cloud-based services abroad, outside the US. That means US governments would be able actually to access data which is stored in the cloud in Switzerland. And this is a feeling or a fact which is not really suitable for most of the banks. They would like to ensure integrity. If there is a criminal act, then they are able to access this data. Now the definition when and how you access this data is a legal term, which goes quite far in that discussion. However, there is a possibility technically they can do that. We would like to prevent them that only Swiss government or Swiss companies or Swiss clients are able to access their own data. That's why banks are looking for a solution which is, on the one hand side, you can use this sharing of software and information, but on the other hand side to ensure those data remain in one's country, especially now in Switzerland.
You have to know that using the cloud is still a small part. Still a lot of companies running their own data center. Most of the capacity is in their own data center. So the cloud is just moving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So therefore what's going to happen is we are using the technology from a hyperscaler. So we would use the Microsoft, the Azure stack basically, which comes from the Azure cloud, which is just a reduced subset of functionality, but continuously actually developed further. So we profit out of all those functionalities.
This is the difference between blockchain and cloud. in cloud you have to restrict areas which has different requirements in terms of secrecy or of integrity. That's why there's some data you would like to have in one pot, others in others. In blockchain, for example, you say because it's distributed, it's secure. Here you protect those pots in a different level. So the service level is different basically from this protection.
Cloud already exists. Apple has one, Amazon has one, Google has one.
Funny enough, you said Apple has one, because Apple is running his cloud on Amazon. So, as we do, we want our cloud on Microsoft technology.
Who owns the decision to implement such a thing like a cloud in a banking institution, for example? It's not really a CTO call, right? Is it the board? Or is it the CEO has to make the decision? Who actually pulls the trigger?
I think there are many logics. If you go into the direction that you would like to have faster and better and more innovative client-facing services, then it will be definitely the business who comes up with the idea, because they would like to have something rolled out faster and sooner, which is a challenge for the current traditional IT. And that's why this logic would more come from the business side.
I mean, I'm coming from the infrastructure part, and thinking about the release cycle which you have normally in an internal IT department. Think about the release cycle going on a public cloud. It's impossible to scope up. The features at the release you're never able to scope up anymore in an internal. So it's just a question, when do you accept to do the step?
It's just a question of when you choose to
It's
use.
just a question when. I wouldn't say it's only about the cost. That will be one part of it. But it's also about the innovation you get out of it. About all those new functionalities. But think about the new services like artificial intelligence, big data. If you're talking about those stuff, you will be never able to build that in your own data center.
Based on this platform, you allow startups, FinTechs, to be part of that community, which was theoretically possible before, but they have been on a non-secure cloud. That means you couldn't share client identifying information with them, you couldn't ensure the secrecy of the banking information, etc., etc. So once you have a secure platform, you can welcome those companies to provide their services, and the whole functionality will enrich massively, because there's so many players, so many providers who can offer their services in a structured and secure way to the financial industry. Absolutely. This is one of the requests what we heard out of the discussion with the banks. The bank says, look, we are approached by so many interesting FinTechs. In the third discussion, it turns out they run on a non-secure cloud. Compliance-wise, you have to say no, sorry. And now we see a possibility to embrace them and to bring them to a platform where we can continue the discussions.
If you have to be compliant and regulatory fit, then you need to go certain steps. You probably need 24 hours monitoring, log monitoring, all that stuff. If you build that on your own, then you have at least 4 people. For a startup, this might be already a killer. This would actually help the banking and the financial industry, that they can straight use innovation and startup companies right from the beginning.
All right, very, very interesting interview. Thank you guys. Great interview.
Thank you very much.